Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today. It is March the 12th. So we're going to begin with our centering and grounding. And I want you to, I know you always pay attention when we do this, but I want you to pay attention to the process today because it's a big part of the of where we're going with the teaching talk today, and also the Yoga Nidra practice today, and I think also where we're going to be heading in April as well. So just really tune into maybe, it feels like it's a little bit rote by now, but be quite conscious of the process because it's a really important one that we do each time when we come together here. I'm just going to mute everybody so you've got a quiet environment. Okay. So let's begin by connecting with our sense of the earth underneath us. So you can feel that through your feet and your seat. And when you do that, start to open to the qualities of the earth, the vastness, the stillness, the quietness, the grounding, the openness, the stability. Notice how these qualities start to come into your body and your being, and they even begin to animate your spine, so you'll start to feel how your spine lengthens. So they also draw you into your center. Your spine lengthens, the back of your neck opens, your ears come over your shoulders. There's a lengthening up through the back of your head. And notice how there's a dignity in that and a coming back to yourself. Your jaw unhinges, your tongue floats in your mouth. And all of this brings you back into your body, back into your core, into your central channel. And then also there's a dropping down into your breath, into your belly. So we do this practice each time we come together, each time we come into our membership community, because so much of what happens in our day-to-day life really scatters and fragments our energy. There's so much pulling and vying for our attention. So even before I came on, there was an email that came this morning that was quite urgent in its nature, wanted me to do something right away. And so even though I did everything I could this morning in as much as I could to be very grounded and centered in my own practices, we're human beings and we live in a world, and there are always going to be external demands placed on us. And so right before I came on this call, just in attending to, my day, my energy gets pulled outwards again as I start to attend to those external demands. And so we have these practices like this one that allows us to connect with that grounding energy of the earth, to reconnect to that vertical flow through our central channel, and to reconnect with that major energy center in our lower dantian, in our lower belly. And find that space away from thought. And from that very fragmented and scattered energy that can really pull us up and out. So that's really why we do this practice each time we come together. And then we remember who we are. And part of that is our mantra. Remember who we are and why we're here. And so we notice how the phrases of our mantra land for us. Remembering that I am intrinsically good. So there is an intrinsic goodness in each and every one of us that does not depend on all those external demands. I'm intrinsically good without exception, and that I have been given this precious opportunity in my unique life. I find ways to engage in my daily practice in everyday life, and that can be as simple as what we're doing right now, coming back to the earth, finding the dignity in our posture, finding our breath. When I open to the vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability of the earth, that vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability opens into my body and being, so that those qualities are always waiting for us. Remembering that my heart is open, tender, and responsive. I enter into relationships as part of my daily practice and everyday life. So we take this time each time we come together in community to gather all our energy back to ourselves, to find our center, to find our ground, to find our breath, so that we come from our place of inner wisdom and dignity and strength. And we know that each one of us comes from this place of inner wisdom, dignity, and strength. And so there's no need to fix or rescue or change anybody here. And so when we take the time to speak in circle, we know that each person has access to this dignity and strength and inner wisdom. And so there's no need to fix or change in anybody, and we can speak from the words I and not you. And that's how we practice ahimsa in our community. Okay, so when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and connect to each other here. And I'll share with you the talk that I've prepared for today. So recently, and I think I spoke about it a little bit on the forum, but not too in depth, but I've really noticed a lot of energy being pulled up and out, and a real disconnect from what we've just connected with, that centeredness, that dignity, that inner strength. You know, in yoga, we often call it our true nature. I've noticed that I become more and more influenced by external resources, really becoming quite scattered, distracted, and confused. And part of this was what was happening in my external world. And part of this is just realizing too recently, just having experienced just so many migraines over the last 6 weeks, that can add to this sense of being scattered and distracted and confused. And then just in creating this coping mechanism around it, a really somewhat quite innocent, I think, although the outcome wasn't quite innocent, attempt to distract myself from this, the pain, and also this kind of pain and mental confusion, and personal difficulties, to just distract myself with social media and Netflix. What really ended up happening, I noticed over time, was that I was really losing my sense of connection with that inner dignity, that sense of centeredness, that groundedness, that sense of self. And what happened over time was I became increasingly influenced by the naysayers and the critics, which left me with a lot of feelings of lack and doubt and insecurity. And it got me curious about it. I think it was quite a very valuable experience, because it got me curious about it, and I started looking into it more, and I started to explore a growing body of evidence, of scholarly research in research journals that are coming forward, that are demonstrating that social media can be quite harmful to our mental, emotional well-being, and really direct links between social media use and depression and anxiety. And just over and over again, those links are just becoming more and more evident in the research studies and in the experiments that are being undertaken in various research institutions. So I wanted to look at our mental well-being first. So first off, social media companies such as Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, what happens is they hire something called attention engineers, and they adopt the same kind of principles as casinos to make these platforms as addictive as possible. So you might find you go on to do one thing and then, half an hour later you're still there, which was maybe not your original intention. And the desire is that you use Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or YouTube in an addictive way because that's how they maximize their profit. Now, the mental damage that we're seeing from our interaction on these social media platforms is that it fragments your attention. When we spend large portions of our day in a state of fragmented attention, this permanently reduces our capacity for concentrated attention, a kind of attention that we take at the beginning of a class like this, where we feel our connection with the earth, we feel how that animates our spine, we feel that centeredness, we feel our connection with our belly. It really messes with that ability to focus and concentrate. Now, let's talk about this fragmented attention from a perspective that I think we can all understand and appreciate as yogis and meditators. And I want to refer back to a class that I taught, I think it's that I filmed a couple of years ago now. I think it's 2 years ago. You can check when you take a look at it. It's the Yoga for Grounding class. And actually, it's got to be more than 2 years ago. It's got to be, because I'm pretty sure I filmed it back in Ontario and I've lived here for 4 years now. So it's got to be more than 4 years ago now. So I'd encourage you to go back and look at that class. It's in the long video section, and I'll put the link in the show notes. It's a 46-minute class. So in that class, at some point, you'll hear me talk about that when we're grounded, we experience a vertical flow of energy. And, this is something that we connect to at the beginning of when we come together here as a community too. First, we connect to the energy coming up from the earth, and then we connect to that vertical flow in our central channel, which allows us to drop away from thought in our belly. So a vertical flow of energy means that our energy flows up and down between us and the earth and sky. You can call it source, you can call it whatever you want, but earth and sky. And allows everything to flow between us. And actually what happens then is that things can be processed, cleansed, recycled. Any of you who've been practicing 10 points practice know that things that, that we bump up against, that we're not ready to open to in our lives, that it gets stored in our bodies. Well, when we've got this good flow of energy going, we can release that tension down and into the earth. When we've got that good flow of energy and connection going between the earth. So earth and sky are these powerful transformers when we're connected in that way. But when we're ungrounded, our energy is scattered and fragmented, and we're much more connected to a horizontal flow of energy. So that means that our thoughts and feelings are projected onto others. And we're going to talk a lot more about this next week, because for me, this has been a pretty big realization, and I'm just sharing the first part of it with you, because what I've discovered about shadow projections and the connection between blockages in shoulder and tension in throat, and just the number of people doing those classes is fascinating me right now. But what we're going to do one thing at a time right now. But when this energy is flowing this way instead of this way, we're way, way, way more sensitive to the thoughts and feelings of others, because our energy is going out this way. And then also we're receiving energy that's being projected back onto us much more easily. So to me, this is like a perfect expression of that outward connection with those social media channels. It's very much this kind of horizontal connection versus the vertical connection with the earth and the sky, and that connection with your central channel and your inner strength and core and your inner dignity and all your main energy channels. So let's go into this a little bit further from this perspective of our emotional well-being. There's also a growing body of evidence being researched that shows that the more we interact in this kind of horizontal way on social media platforms, the more likely we are to feel lonely and isolated. So the constant exposure to your friends' carefully curated, positive portrayals of their life, the more you start to feel inadequate. And it's been shown to increase rates of depression. So we start to feel insecure because we're comparing our behind the scenes, our day-to-day life as we're, going to work, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, vacuuming the floor, putting our kids to bed, getting them off to school, trying to get them to eat their meals, with everybody else's highlight reels, their best and brightest moments, their wins, when they look great and they're all dressed up, and when they're out for meals with their friends and family, and when they're posting about their vacations. And even more than that, but our self-worth gets entirely caught up with this kind of horizontal energy versus this vertical flow of energy that's really connected deep within our own inner dignity. Because instead of being connected with this inner strength, we are looking outwards, to likes, comments, shares, and the value that we receive on social media. And so in the social media platforms, we become a product and we let others attribute value to us. And this is absolutely ludicrous because it changes our sense of identity entirely, right? Our sense of identity is entirely based on, what others think of us, which, has probably more to do with the algorithms and what Facebook and Instagram deems most sellable, most marketable, most advertiser friendly versus, the quality of your experience. So I want to tie this into our meridians and energy as well, because it actually does tie in quite beautifully to our meridians and our energy. And I would encourage you, so there's 2 classes I would encourage you to check out this week if you have some time. And the other one I would encourage you to check out, and I'll put it in the show notes as well, is the Connecting with Your Central and Governing Meridian class. It's from the Connecting with the Ground of Yourself series. It's class number 6, and it's an 18-minute class. And I would say that our central channel, which runs from your pubic bone up the front of your body, and your governing meridian channel, which runs around the back, down your backbone, down to your tailbone, are probably the meridian channels that are most affected by the fragmentary nature of social media, but also just the scattered fragmentary nature of our culture in general right now, which is so very influenced by social media as a whole. So the way that our interactions with social media unground us and pull us up and out of that vertical flow energy between sky and earth, to be more influenced by those horizontal energies, would be most felt at the intersection of social media and our governing and central channels. So your central meridian, it runs up the front of your body and affects how you think. And when it's balanced, you feel centered and secure. However, when you're fragmented or scattered, you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel shame. You're going to feel confused. You're going to feel disconnected. And you're going to feel shy. And I don't know about you, but to me, that feels a lot like a day of high social media usage to me. Your central media meridian is your central meridian is strongly affected by your thoughts and feelings, and it's highly sensitive to the thoughts and feelings of others. So when your central meridian is out of balance, you will feel quite vulnerable. But when it's balanced, you feel centered and secure. So again, it's that vertical flow of energy, that connection to the earth and sky energy, that yin and yang flowing in that vertical way through your body. And it runs through all your major body centers, through all the chakras. When the energy is flowing and all of those energy centers are nourished, there's a sense of being very centered and secure. But when the central channel is disturbed, it's really difficult to access the strength that comes from your energy centers, and it leaves you feeling very vulnerable. Now, your governing channel, on the other hand, it runs up the back of your spine. And it's really connected to how supported you feel by life. And when it's balanced, you're going to be able to stand tall in your own being, and you'll feel very supported by life. You'll feel good in your own experience and in your own life. Now, when you feel disturbed by the horizontal flow of energy, you'll be more easily, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, it's the word that I've got down, but you'll feel, maybe not as good about your own experience, and maybe a little bit more burdened by life. Maybe not quite the right words, kind of need to work on those words, I think, a little bit. But that governing channel, it allows you to connect with your own backbone, your confidence, and standing tall. So you'll have good posture and dignity, and you'll be connected with your internal strength. And when it's disturbed and fragmented by a lot of horizontal energy, you'll lack that kind of inner courage and bravery, inner strength, and a feeling of not being connected to, of not having a backbone. So each time we come into our membership community, each time we come together, we connect with those central and governing channels. We connect with our own dignity. We're connecting with our true nature. We connect with the earth, and through that, really opening up through the back of the neck, through the back of the head, and that's like that pulling up through the top of the head. We connect with the sky and the source and our innermost nature. And all of this is to disconnect from that real fragmentary and scattered, that horizontal energy, and find our way back to our true self. And it's a really powerful process. It's a very powerful process. It's a very I want to say it's almost a what do you call it when you it's almost like a process of resistance in a culture where I think it's almost a posture of resistance, to be honest, in our culture where it's just so easy to be an adopter. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I just feel like this a lot of clarity around that right now, and it's through coming back to the connection with my own inner dignity. I just kept getting this image of being connected with my own central channel, which I could see there was a lot of power and strength in. And so I'd love to hear from you now. If you have any questions or comments about it, let me know where you're connecting from, your name, where you're connecting from, any comments or questions, and then we'll hear from you, and then we'll go into our practice, which will be a yoga nidra, which will support you in connecting to these channels and in disconnecting from that scattered horizontal fragmentary energy that we're exposed to in a continuous way in our lives.
I'm Lucille, and I'm connecting from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Hi, Lucille.
I'm Anya, connecting from Bryan, Texas.
Hi, Anya.
I'm Nikki, connecting from West Virginia.
Hi, Nikki.
And I'm sorry, but I have a crazy cardinal that's been beating himself on my window that keeps distracting me. He just, I don't know what he sees in the window, but he just, every day he does this routine where he beats himself on the window. He's beautiful, but he's, and now he's out there singing his heart out. But I just want to say that I really hear what you're saying about social media, because it's been a battle for me in that it's one of the ways I connect with the rest of my family who all live out in California. And so I do have that connection, plus all the people I've traveled with throughout the years, that I've connected with. This is one place where we all come together. So I've been really, what I've tried to do is, first of all, limit my time and be very selective who gets to be my friend on Facebook, and not any just random people. They have to be people that I actually know, have spent time with, like my children. I have friends in Switzerland and Germany and England that I connect with, and India as well. So, but I understand you can get really lost, and I've gone through that process of getting really lost on it, where you see things and the next thing you know, you're clicking away and you're 2 hours down the road and haven't done anything. And I actually really felt it the other day. I had 2 letters that were imperative that I wanted to write. And I kept getting caught on the computer, on Facebook, or even YouTube sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I just stopped myself and turned the whole thing off. And before I knew it, I could write those letters that I've been trying to write for 2 weeks. That it was there. And I really got the sensory experience of what that means to disconnect and turn the whole thing off, just turn the machine off and be there in myself and get something done that I really wanted to do. And it's been kind of a struggle. I really understand that sensitivity. I understand everything you just said about social media, and really wanting to limit. And I have every day I've written down, I'm allowed 15 minutes, or I'm allowed, that time to see. Because sometimes I get notices of people like you. I get a notice, oh, you've done something, so. But I understand that, and it's been a struggle for me to really set limits and determine how much of my energy gets to go that way rather than this way. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that you're talking about it, because it's something that it's really been on my mind, and I've been dealing with the past month.
It's been a struggle for me in different ways. Once for myself, the comparison thing, that's something that I can relate to, and just being overwhelmed with materials on the internet. I try to use for my teaching, but there's just so much that it scatters me all around. And the third difficulty are my students, who are themselves so wrapped up in social media, and it's so hard for me to control that, because I have to be after the phones on a daily basis. It's really hard for me to control it, and I notice very much how scattered everybody is, how fragmented their attention has become over the years.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been teaching on YouTube for 9 years now. A lot of you have been with me for, like Anya, you've been with me for a very long time, and Lucille has as well.
2014, something like that.
So,
Wow.
so you've been with me for 4 years, Lucille. I think you've been with me for longer.
I watched you a long time before I became a member. I know that.
Yeah. So I can say, if you go back and look at my earlier classes, if you go back and look at a class from 9 years ago and the content in a class from 9 years ago versus a class from 2018, you will see a marked difference in the content in the classes.
Yeah. And your teaching style too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a huge part of that, and we'll get into that next week. So I have a lot of compassion for what you're going through, Anya, as a teacher. A huge part of that is meeting the audience as it is now, or meeting my students as they are now, right? Which is that there's just the ability to concentrate and focus is just not there like it was in 2009.
Yeah.
Very frustrating to me.
So the way I teach continues to change,
Yeah.
to adapt to that.
Although there is a limit in a way, because you do need to acquire a language, for example, you need some sustained concentration. So I can meet them, to a degree, which I do. But and many of them are conscious of it. They actually mention the same things that you mentioned about isolation, anxiety, insecurities. So a lot of them are becoming conscious of it, and hopefully I can help them to control it. But at the end, they have to do it themselves. Their lives.
Yeah, I think the shift to awareness, which and talking about it, is a huge thing, because I think that wasn't even happening maybe a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're actually talking about it, that we're starting to become aware of it, it allows us, as we know from our previous classes around, Michael Lee's beautiful trajectory, that when we have awareness, that we're able to make different choices, right? So awareness is the precursor to choice, whether it's different choices that we make as teachers or different choices that we make as, consumers of social media. So here we're speaking together as yogis, as meditators, and we're talking about our energetic bodies. And so I think we can have a broader perspective than just social media, because I don't want to just put social media, make social media this evil other, right? Because of course, it's the yin and the yang. There's good, and we can use it for good, and then there's the truth that there's a shadow side to it as well. But that as we're talking as yogis and meditators, that we're aware, I think the larger theme of the conversation is that we're aware of our energy. And when we're feeling that connection to our centered strength and our vertical flow of energy, and what is it for us that starts to get that energy feeling fragmented, scattered, and distracted, right? Because Nikki, I thought it was brilliant. Nikki showed that, there's this perfect example of, the natural world giving her some horizontal energy there, right? So even the natural world isn't all good, right? We get tsunamis in the natural world, we get hurricanes, we get mass destruction and distraction in the natural world too, right? There's always the yin and the yang. It's not all good or all bad, but we're opening our awareness to what's pulling our awareness out, and what's allowing us to be centered in our inner dignity and strength. And it's not that we're always going to be able to be here. It's fluid, but that there is some awareness of what's happening for us, and then we have choice.
Speaking of natural distractions, there's this very small mouse that is scurrying about the room, and and she's so cute. And this whole teaching talk, I've been just keeping an eye, and it even came right across the keyboard. Like, and it carried right behind where I'm sitting. And I just like mice. I'm not really, so I'm not gonna do anything. But anyways, yeah, just very distracting and cute.
Yeah. So distractions take all forms.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for your input. Shall we practice the Yoga Nidra that I have prepared for you today? It's gonna focus on the central government. So let's go ahead and lie back. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. And a good idea to have a blanket pulled up over top of you in case you get cool. Eye pillow is a nice idea as well. You might want to have a bolster underneath your knees. So draw all the energy, thoughts, and emotions that are scattered and diffused back to you now. And notice how simply setting the intention to let go of these completely normal and human distractions allows you to connect more deeply with the core of yourself. Feel your body lying here on the earth and sense the support of the ground underneath you. And with each breath out, feel tension, follow the tension releasing from your body into the ground with the natural pull of gravity. Become aware of your spine. Focus at your tailbone. And then breathe in and bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over the top of your head, and into your mouth. Breathe out and slowly bring the energy down the front of your body and into your belly. Breathe in and bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over your head, and into your mouth. Breathe out and slowly bring the energy down the front of your body and into your lower belly. Breathe in and bring the energy from your tailbone up the back, over your head, and into your mouth. Breathe out and slowly bring the energy down the front of your body and into your lower belly. And let your breath settle in your lower belly. And remember a time in your life when you felt confident, centered, secure, and supported by life. A time when you felt confident, supported by life. A time when you stood tall in your own being. You were connected with the good in your own experience, and there was a sense of dignity. So from that place of connection and dignity, ask yourself, what is my deepest aspiration in this moment? And if nothing comes forward, simply embrace the sweetness of not knowing and allow yourself to be present with no agenda. Let go of all the ways you scan and track your outer world. Notice your tongue at the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. Feel your rows of teeth and gums. And let your tongue drop to the floor of your mouth. Feel your jaw unhinge. Feel the root of your tongue and the hollow of your throat. Notice your ears, letting go of sounds further away, and follow the sounds closer in, to the sound of your own breathing. Become aware of your breath at your nostrils. And notice your eyes and how they are closed to the tracking and scanning of the outer world, yet open to the sensing of your internal world. Become aware of your spine. And focus at your tailbone. Breathe in and bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over your head, and into your mouth. Breathe out slowly, bring the energy down the front of your body and into your lower belly. Breathe in, bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over your head, and into your mouth. Breathe out slowly, bringing the energy down the front of your body and into your lower belly. Breathe in, bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over your head and into your mouth. Breathe out. Slowly bring the energy down the front of your body and into your lower belly. Let go of thinking and open to sensing and feeling. We're going to rotate your awareness through your body and know there's no way you can do this wrong. You don't need to try to relax. Just allow your attention to feel into body sensations. Become aware of your tailbone, your sacrum, lower back, mid back, upper back, back of neck, occipital ridge, back of head, top of head, space between the eyebrows, bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, top of the lip, chin, hollow of the throat, center of the collarbones, heart center, lower sternum, belly, pubic bone, pelvic floor. Become aware of your tailbone, your sacrum, your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, back of the neck, occipital ridge, back of your head, top of your head, space between your eyebrows, bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, top of the lip, chin, hollow of the throat, center of the collarbones, heart center, lower sternum, belly, pubic bone, pelvic floor. Become aware of your tailbone, sacrum, lower back, mid back, upper back, back of the neck, occipital ridge, back of the head, top of the head, space between the eyebrows, tip of the nose, top of the lip, chin, hollow of the throat, center of the collarbones, heart center, lower sternum, belly, pubic bone, pelvic floor, tailbone, sacrum, lower back, mid back, upper back, back of the neck, occipital ridge, back of the head, top of the head, space between the eyebrows, bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, top of the lip, chin, hollow of the throat, center of the collarbones, heart center, sternum, belly, pubic bone, and pelvic floor. Become aware of your whole spine. And focus at your tailbone. Breathe in and bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over your head, and into your mouth. Breathe out and slowly bring the energy down from the front of your body into your lower belly. Breathe in and bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over your head, and into your mouth. Breathe out and slowly bring the energy down the front of your body into your lower belly. Breathe in, bring the energy from your tailbone up your back, over your head, and into your mouth. breathe out and slowly bring the energy down the front of your belly and into your lower belly. If you are willing, feel the sensation of being scattered and fragmented in your body. Let the feeling of being scattered and fragmented grow and amplify. And when you feel ready, open your awareness to the sensation of being centered and grounded. Let the sensation of being centered and grounded grow and expand. Then bring your awareness back to feeling scattered and fragmented. And then feel both being scattered and centered simultaneously without thinking about it. Open to the experience of scattered and centered dissolving into each other. Rest into the background of awareness. There's nothing to do, nothing to accomplish, nothing left to complete. Nothing you need to get, nothing you need to know, and nowhere you need to be.
Unmute. Hi. Hi, Melissa. Oh, yeah. No, not we did.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Lucille.
So slowly come back from the depths. Let this transition be as gentle and easy as possible. You can open and close your eyes a few times and soak up the rest and beingness from your experience of Yoga Nidra, and allow yourself to bring it into your waking world. Sorry about this, you guys. I had an email ready to go out to you too with the time, letting you know about the time change and everything, and Tim forgot to send it yesterday. I wondered why nobody was here this morning.
Oh, what a shame.
Not nobody, but I wondered why all the regulars weren't here.
I need to say goodbye now because
Okay.
I have to go pick up my dog. She had
Bye,
surgery. So,
I hope the
namaste.
surgery went well. Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Namaste. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So good to see you, Jane and Michelle. Nice of you to join us.
Oh, so sorry.
That's all right.
Oh. These things happen, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to make sure that Tim sends the email out today so that the later time doesn't get confused, especially for Australia. So any thoughts or comments about that particular Yoga Nidra? Because we changed it up again today.
I like the idea of the energy flow from along your spine. That was different. It was nice. Felt nice.
Did you get a sense of the flow, Anya?
Yeah.
Yeah. How is the breath? How is the timing of the breath? You guys were the first ones to do that.
It could be a little bit faster.
Faster, yeah.
Unless you want us to hold our breath.
Okay, so the breath needs to go faster. Thanks for that.
At least for me.
How is it for you, Lucille?
I found that it went so fast. It seemed to me that maybe I fell asleep. And
Okay.
I didn't really do that, but it seemed to go really fast for me. That it was over.
It was over.
And then I
Okay.
heard a voice and I thought, where am I?
Yeah, okay.
I think maybe I did drop off a little bit. But I liked it because it was different from the other ones we've done. So it kind of held my attention. I'm like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to change it up in that way, I think, too. Yeah. Okay.
Can I just say something, Melissa?
Yeah.
So I've been can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I've been practicing different ones of the recordings most often when I'm in bed before I go to sleep, and I don't know, it's so easy and so quick to come into that quiet space. I don't know whether it's like your brain's reprogrammed or what, it's just you're so in tune with your body. And most often I'm staying with it, kind of doing that, treat it a bit, but it's amazed me really. Probably practiced it a long time ago and seen it more as just like a way of like tensing and relaxing different muscles and things like that type of thing, more of a rotation around the body. In the past it seemed very mechanical, whereas now it's that deep connection with the body and bringing all the different layers, everything from out.
That's how I feel about it now too, is that it feels like it's connecting all the practices. So I think that a big part of that is a knowledge of the different practices too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But also weaving in the knowledge of all the practices too. Yeah.
But this morning with the in the DYC practicing some of those, I did about the first 4 short practices because I have more time on a Monday and I'm trying to plan my sessions for the rest of the week. But I really noticed a big difference with my asana practice. How everything seems to be coming together. There's so much more depth to the asana practice than ever there was before, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that depth. So that's, see, Anya, I think there's hope, right? That there are the deep divers. This is based on the talk today, right? There are the deep divers, the people that go deep into the practices and do develop a relationship over time with practices. And then there is that depth of understanding that unfolds from it. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely possible too. And I think that we are actually hardwired to go that way, right? We are actually hardwired to go that way into the depths. And we feel off when we're pulled this way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the topic of the conversation. And we feel that, don't we? Yeah. We feel better when we're making those connections and when things start to feel more integrated, like Michelle's talking about. Mm-hmm. So I think that those kind of things can really give us hope, because for our own personal lives and also as educators too, because I know a lot of you are teaching and your parents as well, or grandparents, that we can take that time to connect with our children and our grandchildren or our students and just recognize that that we're all suffering from this horizontal pull of energy, and doing what we can to reconnect with the vertical flow of energy, with our children and our grandchildren, just grounding each other with, a hug is a really great way to do that, right? Bring us back to our center. Something as simple as that. Then as educators, taking time to reconnect with that vertical flow, right? Feeling our feet on the ground, feeling our seats in the chairs, feeling our bodies, things like that, just to bring us back, because there's so much to pull our attention out. And we have to train ourselves more, because our focus has really been distracted. So I think it's quite actually an exciting opportunity, really. Okay. So thank you. Sorry about the time difference. When do you guys change in England?
Not until
End
the
of
last
March.
week, the last weekend of March.
Oh, bother.
I also think that people in New York change after that as well.
Oh,
Or
God's
maybe
sakes.
be there a week before, actually. They might be a week before us. I'm not sure, but that's all different as well.
Oh my gosh.
So it's all over the place.
What a mess.
Yeah.
It's kind of right on topic for today's talk, isn't it, really? Jeez. Okay. Well, thank you all for your time here today, and sorry you guys didn't get a class, and
Well,
we'll just put everybody on.
We'll get the recording.
Yeah, well, enjoy
Yeah,
that.
she will. We'll get there in a few weeks, I guess. Namaste.
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 Have a good rest of your night and day. Oh, there's Paige now.
Thank you.
I'll just say hi to Paige.